It's not a scam, guys. It's iteration. Pre-alpha early days. Real development didn't start until 2016. Wait. Daddy Chris, are we still saying 2016 or are we moving on to 2017 yet?
Greetings, citizens. My name is FailureToReport, and it might as well be a fucking scam. First off, this isn't a reply video. Yes, someone made a video today saying, it's not a scam. I see less and less people talking about how it's not going to come out and more people are worrying about the mechanics in final form. Whew. You're either in a bubble or willfully ignorant to think that way. It's attrition, dum-dum. We're at 8 years almost and still lacking the foundation of an alpha of a dream that is a tech demo. People are just getting over it. More and more with every roadmap that gets hard pushed to the right, every new silly, shitty gameplay mechanic that comes out of left field to take priority over things backers have been waiting for years. New concept sales that go direct to game while people are sitting there dumbfounded holding on to JPEGs they've been waiting more than 4 years to fly. It isn't a sudden shift in the backer base that has everyone going, the dream's coming! It's that less and less people care. Less and less critics give a damn about trying to offer their opinions on a floundering ship that's captained by an egomaniac and unironically crewed by people who keep cheering him on as he tries to put this massive, unrealistically big dream ship into port at flank speed while blindfolded. It's that the backers who aren't active in the first place but come back during milestones to see where the pledge that they backed years ago is at, there still isn't enough progress to make a meaningful game, much less what they were promised and sold, so they go back to lurking until the next proclaimed Jesus patch comes around. How many of those have we had now? It's like five or six Jesus patches that were supposed to make it great again? Yeah. Now, I'd say these things were surprising, but they're coming from the same guy who saw CIG's file structure on a stream and thought, oh hey, their internal build has extra planets in it. We must be about to get a new system. And hype trained all the faithful of the world without taking 5 minutes out of, from my own experience, at least 2 hours time spent making the video without realizing CIG has always had a different file structure than their live builds that has way more content in it than their live game. That much was obvious back when someone from CIG accidentally leaked their server login. Were you not around back then? Are you new here, sweet, sweet summer child? Oh, right. You're still one of those, there's way more work being done than what people are seeing. Hey, just wait. There's going to be a massive content drop. Yeah, that's what we were telling critics back in 2014, too. Man, that's aged well. All right, look, the point is, this crap isn't something new. There isn't some magical shift in opinion. Anyone who has been around this project for more than a year has seen this whole cycle at least 4 times now. CIG falls on its face due to whatever circumstances they and the Dreamers want to come up with. Spoiler, it's terrible management, but to admit that would send a schism through reality. Then the content creators who depend on Star Citizen rise up to assure the crowd that their continued support of the project is the right course of action. Now, I'm just what do the White Knights of Roberts call it? Leech sucking off of CIG, who doesn't beg for Patreon support, ask for your donations, beg you to like, sub, and hit that bell. So maybe I don't have room to talk since I've heard through the grapevine that I'm paying my bills with Star Citizen content. But, dear listener, take this to heart. Sandy Gardner, Chris's wife and head of marketing for the game, has spent no small amount of time flaunting the success of the project because of her ability to weaponize social marketing. And to her credit, she's absolutely right. So when you're taking the word of certain channels out there telling you the game is amazing, it's all coming together now, there's so much content. Keep in mind, this game is by a company that throws kickbacks to their loyal propaganda talking heads. In what forms, you might ask? Anything from high-end gaming PCs to help them not make Star Citizen look like a performance meme, ships for giveaways which greatly boost a channel's views and subs, or even spotlighting them in community contests to give them an edge over any other competitors. CIG actively contributes to these channels, which by extension contributes to these content creators making a living off of Star Citizen. Most of the top Star Citizen content creators literally depend on Star Citizen and their channels for income. There are a few outliers, but most of them have taken producing Star Citizen content on as their actual means of getting by. You'd have to be a real special lemming to not see the conflict of interest in these channels telling their viewers that the whole dream is a clusterfuck and that it's 8 years in now and still barely figuring out how to stand up, much less walk. Then you have the second tier channels, the guys who want to swear up and down that the project is amazing, all fears are unfounded, there's years worth of content being hidden from us until the right moment, and that some magical tech pipeline CIG has been working on is going to suddenly flip the entire gaming industry on its head. These guys see big content creators like Board Gamer and Rexzilla who are doing very well pushing the narrative and are trying to pick up the scraps, get in on them sweet donations, subs, patrons, and channel support, hoping that eventually they will get big enough following to step up onto the podium with the big kids and have Senpai Chris notice them. So when it comes to yet another Star Citizen content creator video trying to assure everyone that the latest meltdown by the community over missed deadlines, failed content, lack of reliable gameplay, dated meme-worthy AI, or some other scandal within this quagmire of overpromising and mismanagement happens, you don't need to ask me what I think of the video because they are always the same. Some guy who is trying to get his piece of the dreamer money train by hyping the herders of the community with the same shit they've been saying since 2014 when I was very shamefully one of those blind faith morons spitting the exact same talking points they are now using as 2020 approaches.
Oh, just wait for the pipeline to finish. They're gonna be finishing the game so much faster once this one thing gets done. The server population's gonna be huge, with one of those buzzword tech things being completed that other games have all had for half a decade. Nobody's ever dreamed this big before.
Like, I could seriously do a 10-minute video just spitting out the same excuses the faithful are saying today that they were telling critics back in the actual early days, not the revisionist history early days that the cult says are just now getting behind us. Here's one more for the road.
Development didn't get underway until a few years ago. They had to convert everything to Lumberyard, which took a lot of effort and time for the team.
Okay. Did somebody tell Chris that? He said kind of the opposite. So we've covered misinformation and the nonstop, hey guys, it's okay, keep supporting the project, and, by extension me, crap. Let's talk about why this cancer isn't going to get better on its own or with homeopathic remedies. You see, the management in this game is absolute, 100% pure, undiluted, uncut AIDS. I've been covering this game on YouTube since around 2016, I think it was, and I've had the privilege of talking to a lot of employees, past and present, about the state of the game, which is one of the reasons I chuckled so hard when backers had a meltdown over the Forbes article talking about the chaotic mismanagement of the project, because everything they touched on in that article was basically the teeny tiny tip of the iceberg compared to the things I've heard directly from people who have been or are working on this dream. I've spent nearly a year and a half now trying to caution potential backers and current ones who are still spending money on the things I've been told without giving out anything that would directly incriminate anyone breaking that precious NDA of Chris's. So I'll reiterate again for anyone who might be new to the channel and coming across this. Star Citizen will never be released as it's being sold. The massive multiplayer will never happen. The performance will never be amazing. The family running this project are fucking hopelessly incapable of delivering the universe they are promising you. Now, I know there are a lot of sane, level-headed backers out there. I've met quite a few over the years on Spectrum, in-game, on Reddit, through the YouTube channel. So I'm going to say some things now that are going to hurt some people's feelings. Please don't take it as an attack because it isn't meant to be one. So I hope you can hear the mean things I'm about to say and take it as a reason to reflect in on yourself if this applies to you. One of the biggest reasons Star Citizen has managed to limp along all these years are the backers. Now, there are all sorts of backers out there, from people who want a good space game to people who need Star Citizen. Now, when I say need Star Citizen, I'm not talking the backers who are bored of games and looking for that shiny new fix. It's no coincidence that the Star Citizen community has so many backers from the game Second Life. If you're watching this and going, what the fuck is Second Life? I strongly encourage you to jump on Netflix right now and look up the documentary called Life 2.0. It does a great job of showcasing what Second Life is and the type of people drawn to it. To be blunt, and again, this isn't meant as an attack on anyone if this applies to you, but Second Life is all about escapism. It feeds on its player base wanting to escape their real lives due to loneliness, identity crisis, relationship problems, you name it, and Second Life offers you a way to vent or escape it. To live a second life where you're successful, where you can do things you couldn't do in real life. Now, to be clear, there's nothing inherently wrong with Second Life or the mentality behind its player base, but it does cause some very serious issues when it translates over to Star Citizen. These backers become obsessed with the idea of a mainstream second reality, or a verse as Star Citizen calls it, and they get very, very defensive over anyone who picks at the dream Chris Roberts promised them would come true. As a result, you get thousands of backers who are so emotionally, if not financially invested in the project, scouring the web for anyone who would taint the dream with words of criticism or thoughts of dissent. Then there are backers who are so terrified that if word gets out about how poorly the project is being managed in terms of financials or time management, progress, or quality, then their dreams won't get made. So they dedicate their time to telling anyone who will listen how amazing the game is or will be once insert one of those mocked excuses happens. They even go so far as trying to recruit everybody they know until people want to just avoid them because they won't shut up about this stupid project. If Star Citizen's biggest problem is Chris Roberts and family being unaccountable and incompetent to the tasks they've been giving themselves over the years, then its second biggest liability is the community that CIG has fostered and grown around itself as armor from criticism. Doubling back to what that other content creator said about hearing less people fearing the game won't get made, it isn't that they aren't there, it's that those critics and voices of concern and reason have either given up trying or they've been banned off the platforms as Cloud Imperium actively tried to shape the narrative around their product. So the crux of this video, is Star Citizen a scam? Absolutely. It will never, ever, ever be what it is being sold as, and to me, that's a scam. If you're grossly misrepresenting what you're offering somebody for money, you're scamming. When I go up to a dude in Diablo 2 and go, yeah man, I want to buy a Stone of Jordan, and he give me some busted ass green ring instead, I don't stop before raging on my keyboard and say, well, that's in-game trade development for you. It's still early days after all. No, hell no. That dude scammed me. Chris Roberts absolutely knows he will never be able to pull off the things he's promising because he promises everything to anyone. And it's going to slowly become more and more of a mainstream thought as the years drag on. Because, make no mistake, Star Citizen has many years to go from this point. I'm not talking like a year or two. If, by some miracle, Cloud Imperium is still treading water by 2024, people will still be having these same discussions about how it's not all bad and the roadmap delays and failures are just part of game development. So, if you're a Star Citizen backer and want a warm blanket and a hug, by all means go to one of those channels that will tell you how smart you are for getting in on the ground level with your investment and how the project is steaming right along to completion. By the way, have you used their referral code yet? You get a whole 5,000 UEC for making a new account, and patrons get early access to their content, so you can be the first in the know. Now, if you're tired of the never-ending bullshit out of Star Citizen, this is usually the point where I would normally say, hey, speak up, even if you get gangbanged by fanatics and morons for voicing your opinion or thoughts on mechanics and giving feedback in the early days of development, which was supposed to be the whole point of this Kickstarter project. But honestly, I don't think it matters anymore. I don't think this community or the company driving it can be redirected at this point. I really do hope that Star Citizen does get made, partly so the people who are bystanders in the great troll versus cult boy war can get the product that they were promised, but also partly because I want to sit back and laugh at the backers who dumped thousands into this game while silencing people who pointed out mechanics that weren't fun, didn't add to gameplay, made it more tedious, and will eventually lead to dead servers, if Star Citizen ever does get past 50-player instant servers. But at this point, I think the ship has sailed on Star Citizen. CIG has done an amazing job of purging out dissent over the last near decade. Its active community is happy to accept any historical revision that offers a more comfortable reality where the project is actually a massive success and innovating things that nobody has or ever will do. And honestly, I can't wait to see them deploy across the internet when the dumpster fire of Squadron 42 is finally made public, maybe possibly depending on the roadmap changes come late 2020. So, if you really want to burn your money on something, I strongly encourage all of you viewers to instead look up a children's cancer charity of your choice and send their Patreon sub and concept ship money that way instead. At least then you know where it's going, and it has the added effect of being put towards something real versus a has-been game developer who hasn't released a game in almost 2 decades' vain attempt at recapturing their glory days by promising literally everything to anyone with a credit card who asks them what Star Citizen is going to be. As always, I am Failure to Report, and a big fat way to tank your own dream to all the morons who kept backpatting CIG as Chris drives it into the ground.